Good afternoon and welcome to the Small Business Virtual Town Hall. I'm Dan McKee, Lieutenant Governor of the State of Rhode Island. And every Tuesday at noontime, we're doing a live broadcast talking about small businesses in the state and different things, different people that are helping those small businesses stay in business. And today is no different. We're very fortunate that we're going to have our SBA on, our DLT, which is Department of Labor Training, DBR, Division of Business Regulation, along with our Commerce, talking about the grant program and giving us an update on that. While I got you, I just want to kind of set some of the things that our office and things that I'm working on that I think are very important. Visited a business today, had the ribbon cutting on right on Allen's Avenue in Providence, a Mexican cuisine restaurant. Just opened up during the COVID. Next week, we're going to highlight a handful of businesses that actually opened up during the COVID. They were planning and they opened up, and the struggles that they're going through, and the fact that they have not been able to benefit from some of the programs that are out there to help our small businesses. We need to really be a voice for every business in the state, regardless of when they open, because they're all going through the same issues right now with overhead and rent and insurance and payroll and cost for the vendors and on and on and on and on. The list doesn't stop, and that's why we're going to talk today about that. Always talk about, let's make sure we're healthy. Wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask. I have a colorful one today on. I hope that Liz has her mask today as well, from Liz Tanner from Department of Business Regulation. So we need to do that. Tomorrow evening's call, our community conversation, is going to be, again, a continuation of the racial issues that we're going through, and the efforts to make sure that we do right by everybody that lives in our state, whether they're a minority or non-minority. And we're going to focus on education tomorrow night. I keep on saying we're talking about reopening our schools. We need to do it safe, but we also got to be aware that our students are losing hundreds of hours of learning time that we're going to have to figure a strategy to actually make up. It's going to be impossible to do during a normal school day or normal school year. So we're going to lose. It doesn't matter whether you're high income, low income, moderate income, whether you're a minority family, non-minority family. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to fill in those hundreds of hours of lost learning time. And one of the things I'm going to be advocating for is a municipal education office. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow night with some of the young advocates in the communities that are really advocating for things that have to do with some of the racial stress that's going on, and also some of the policies that we need to talk about, including education. So tune in tomorrow night. That's going to be a fantastic show with a couple of young activists. The one is involved with Black Lives Matters. Another one's just basically, Miles is just saying, I want to be involved. I want to get into discussion. Well, we're going to give that opportunity to open up this discussion to a number of young people that are, interested in, really addressing the inequities that happen, whether it's in policing. We're going to talk about defunding the policing. You're going to hear about my feeling that that's the wrong term. It doesn't make sense. We need to keep the police intact, and then if there are other programs that we need to add on, then we got to advocate for those extra revenues to support our police. Defunding doesn't make sense. It doesn't even, it doesn't even accomplish what we're trying to accomplish there. So anyways, we're going to talk about those things, but right now we're going to start our program today, and we got Mark Hayward on again. And Mark, please come on in. I'm trying to get Joe Rodeo on as well, but I think Joe's having trouble getting the link. Right. But thank you, Mark, for that. And I got my mask too. I went with the colorful one today. I got some daisies. You've gone.
That's with really nice, Governor.
Yeah. Well, it's
I've gone stylish. It's a gator.
A gator. I like it.
It's a gator. It's a little bit different than what I've been wearing in the past. Everybody has seen, of course, my multiple Mickey ones.
Yes.
Yes, so this is a gator. It's actually not bad. It's cool, and it can be worn all the time. And when you need it, you just pull it up.
Well, Liz is going to be very happy. She's going to be on the. Liz is going to be very happy. Liz Tanner, Director of Department of Business Regulation, will be on shortly, and she's going to be very happy that we're keeping the theme alive to make sure that people are out there wearing their masks, but also our focus is to make sure that our small businesses, survive during this difficult time. So give us any updates you got. And I do have a couple questions that have come my way yesterday and
Sure.
today.
So first and foremost is I have to tell Director Tanner that I'm starting to run out of I'm starting to run out of places to go and different styles to wear. So I think, Governor, I might be up to like 9 or 10 so far, the different ones that I've provided. So I might have one more. I think I have one more in my car. Because like I said to you, I keep them in the office. I keep them in my pocket, keep them in the car, keep them at the golf course. So
well, go
ahead, Governor. I'm sorry.
You can use them again. That's okay. If you have to go use them again, use them again.
Absolutely.
I have this is the type of stuff that my wife Susan's picking up, but I wanted to show that, there's a lot of style going on in these type of efforts. So keeping us healthy.
Absolutely. My wife and daughter, Nancy and Meg, they have they've gotten a number of them from Old Navy, and it's kind of like we rotate, which ones we're going to wear. But I think the point of it is listen, we're just trying to keep everybody safe and keeping everybody healthy. That's really what the important thing is, and we just have to understand that. Now, having said that, we're still at stalemate. The HEALS Act, which is currently been proposed by Senator McConnell, Senator Rubio, Senator Collins, is still sitting there. We have had no movement. I know that a lot of businesses have said, Governor, that we really do need a next round of PPP. The administration and we've been involved in some of the discussions of what this will look like going forward, and hopefully all minds will come together and we will eventually get a second round of PPP. And I can't speculate on it, but certainly we're prepared for it, if nothing else. The agency has moved forward with allowing forgiveness to be, a number of banks have done it as well, on loans that are over $150,000, because the HEALS Act basically says if you have a loan that's $150,000 or less, and I think you and I talked about this, 87% of all loans that were done here in Rhode Island were $150,000 or less. So basically, if the HEALS Act passed, those loans would be automatically forgiven. If you have a loan that's in excess of that, then you can move forward and start working with your lender if you're prepared to request forgiveness. Now, having said that, you have until October of 2021 to move forward with forgiveness. So I mean, there's a lot of time, and a lot of small businesses said, I need to move on to the next thing. What else? We have come together, and I sent to your staff this morning. We are really concentrating on the technical assistance components. The resource partners, SCORE, the Small Business Development Center, the Women's Center, and the VBOC, the Veterans Business Outreach Center, and our office have been putting together a survey for the Chambers of Commerce and associations to send out to their members. And I think yesterday we saw a couple of, and I did an interview on Channel 12 where a couple of businesses have closed. And what we say before you put that key in the door and walk away, we have technical assistance. The SBDC was provided $1.2 million in the CARES Act. The Center for Women in Enterprise was provided almost $500,000 in the CARES Act. We have hired consultants. We desperately want to help people get through this period. We know that fall is coming, and for hospitality and retail, this could pose some significant hurdles. So we're going to be going out with a survey, and we will have the technical assistance available for those who want it. And I think the survey, Governor, that we're going to go out with really is kind of the tip of the iceberg. We need to know the kinds of resources they need. It makes no sense for us to go out and hire procurement consultants if really the issues are financials and marketing. So we need to know exactly where it is, but we are moving in that vein. On EIDL, fraud continues to. I got a curveball thrown at me yesterday when two bankers called and said, "Hey, listen, somebody just hit my credit and somebody's got a loan for $150,000 in my name." So I sent that to the Inspector General, and I also sent that to Lieutenant Salisbury over at the Rhode Island State Police Financial Crimes Unit for him to take a look at. And so we're still dealing with that. But all in all, we're also pushing forward on idle loans, and we're doing the best we can to get the money out to the small business community. I yield back.
Yeah, so your point on the support that you have, that's a really good point. We know that many of the businesses, and being a small business owner myself over the years and going through the banking crisis and then the 9/11 crisis and the real estate crisis, our backs get against the wall very quickly. And this has been going on for 5, almost 6 months. So that support would make a lot of sense. So people out there in that spot, they should be calling our office, 222-2371. We can steer them into Mark and that network that you're talking about. But you put a lot of effort into your businesses, and so even though it's draining and emotionally draining for you, take that extra step. You got support, and we want to provide that to you, and so does Mark. So the other question that I've got, Mark, is that so we're going to have a handful of businesses on today that aren't qualifying for the grants, and we're going to give them the platform of spelling out why their businesses are important and why they or any grant program or any help out there, small business. We shouldn't be picking winners and losers like we are currently. We're very happy that some of the businesses will start getting some of those grants, and we're going to keep on working for that. But one of them shared with me that the 6-month moratorium or the delay on their SBA loan is going to sunset sometime in either September, and then they're going to have another $2,000 of cost on their back, and they're saying, what am I going to do? But has there been any discussion about extending those things, or is there any guidance that you can give these businesses, or in fact, when they sunset, they're going to have to start paying that principal and interest again that they've been so fortunate for the SBA to defer and to forgive?
So as everybody knows, part of the CARES Act, the original part of the CARES Act provided for 6 months of payments on all SBA loans, 504s and 7As. If you had an SBA loan guaranteed or a 504 loan, which is our premier program on land and buildings and machinery and equipment, the SBA has paid that for 6 months. Now, let me go back to a couple of other issues that we started before the CARES Act went in that we can now continue to make recommendations, is that go to your lenders. The one important thing is, listen, people don't get information through osmosis, despite what people think. You need to be talking to your lender. You need to be talking to your accountants and your attorneys, and ask your lender for a 6-month deferral. Under the SBA rules, now, this is not a freebie. It's not saying that we're going to pay your next 6 months, but it allows you to defer the payments for a 6-month period. So technically, Governor, it would give you a year without payments. Under the rules, those payments would end up at the back of the loan. You'd end up paying those 6 months. But it gives you, at this point in time, it gives you the ability to extend that P&I, principal and interest deferment, out an additional 6 months. Do not wait. If you're coming to September and that's the end of the road for the SBA payments, do not wait until September the 27th to start talking to the lenders. Start now. Today is September the 1st. Talk about a deferment for the next 6 months so that you can not only survive but thrive at some point in time.
Yeah. So, Mark, I think that is because time is. I mean, it's unbelievable that we've been at this for 6 months, and certain things, certain deadlines are coming on us right now. So we're going to have to continue. That's why I thank you so much for being here, Mark. I mean, this is going to be a changing strategy going forward. There's no question about that. And flexibility in this is going to be very important. And that's one of the things that, it didn't even occur to me when I got up this morning, but when I was talking to one of the people that's going to be on later in this broadcast, they're saying, hey, that's coming, that's sunsetting, and that's another reason why I need this help with any of the grants or anything that's going on. Ben, you got something for Mark, or did you just come on and say hello?
Well, first of all, hello.
My dear friend, Ben. Yes, here he is.
Good to see you guys. So I do have a couple questions. One, this came in through an email to the Lieutenant Governor's office. Is there a limit a nonprofit can apply for regarding SBA EIDL?
So the EIDL for not-for-profits is the same as for-profits. It's 150,000. But again, the calculation is based upon, and I realize not-for-profits are in a little bit different position, but it's gross revenues minus cost of goods sold, which is a difficult situation for not-for-profits. And I've God knows how many times I've walked through this one, and that's divided by 2, whatever the difference is there. So it's 150,000, but it's going to be a challenge. I'll be very candid with you.
Another question regarding PPP loan forgiveness. Our 24-week loan is up October 15th. Do we have until the 15th of October to bring our laid off employees back, or until 12/31? When doing the online calculator, we have FTE of 90% right now. There's more. They can always send an email. They can. Basically, they can after October the 21st. Not knowing the situation, it sounds like they're in the safe harbor provisions, and that would still be okay for them. And if they didn't bring all of their employees back, they would have to give the justification for it. If they were 150,000 or less and the HEALS Act kicked in, Governor, this is what we've been talking about, then that would be automatic forgiveness regardless of the fact that there was a safe harbor. So it really depends, Ben, but we can work with them. Just send an email to the district office box, and we'll be happy to reach out to them. Awesome. And I have one more question for you. Trying to find that email address. Sorry. Okay. And I have one more question for you. Question from Mark. Will nonprofits be included with the tech assistance survey, and will they be able to use the consulting services?
So that's a very technical question that we're going to get resolved. Yes, they are in the survey. I have sent it to all of the chambers of commerce, all the trade associations. Although when I was looking this morning, about 12 of them come back, and I can't understand why. But we'll get back into that. But yeah, we're hoping that the technical assistance will be open to everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Mark. We'll be talking to you. Appreciate
Thanks, Governor. Have a great day.
Yeah, keep on plugging. Okay, I'm not sure whether Stephen Pryor's here or not, Ben, but if he is, let's bring him on. There he is. Unmute yourself, and we'll be good.
Sorry about.
There you go.
Good to be with you.
Good to be with you too, Stephen. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, so yeah, just I got Joe Rodeo hopefully going to join us too here on this one, but yeah, just
Great.
give us an update on
Joe,
the grant program, and then we're continuing to lobby to kind of create more opportunity and that type of thing, but we'll get into that at the tail end of our discussion. But tell us what's happening right now that to keep people going forward and getting the access to those grants that you're working on.
Glad to, Lieutenant Governor. Good to be back on your show. Pleased that you're keeping this forum open and keeping the dialogue going. I want to start by talking about the state of business in Rhode Island more generally. And I want to note that we all are facing continuing challenges. Businesses are facing tremendous challenges, small businesses, enormous challenges. But we're pleased that in the context of the nation, Governor, we're doing very well. Moody's has teamed up with CNN to do a recurring survey of the states as to how rapidly they're getting back to normal economically. They call it their back to normal survey or index. And recently we were pleased that Rhode Island emerged on the list as number 6 in the whole country, number 6 for getting back to normal economically. And I'm pleased to report, Lieutenant Governor, that we've now shot up to number 3 state out of 50, number 3 in the whole country on getting our economy back. That is because Moody's estimates that we're at 89% of where the economy was in early March. No one's satisfied with that. We want to get all the way back. But we're pleased that we're 3rd best in the whole country. Rhode Island for too long has been accustomed to being in the lower section of the list. We're at the very, very top 3, and we're really pleased with that. And I want to note our neighbors are much lower, doing much worse. Connecticut's at number 13 on the list. New York is at 28. Massachusetts is at number 44. 3 in the country. Rhode Island's at number 3 on getting our economic vitality back. So none of us are resting on our laurels, and we need to keep up the hard work. But we're one of the most open states in the country. We've placed guidance in place for each of our industry sectors to make sure that businesses, customers, everyone stays safe. But by being so very open and by having good guidance in place, public health wise, we've managed to be one of the most vibrant economies in the country. No one is saying that the economic suffering is over. No one is saying that the challenges have ceased. They have not. But we're very, very pleased with the progress. So I wanted to lead with that. And Lieutenant Governor, before I get to the Restore Small Business Grants, I want to mention one other very important initiative that was rolled out this week. The governor rolled this out from the podium yesterday, and that's our effort to get more business conducted and more life going on outdoors. It's a campaign we call Take It Outside. We want to take the fight to COVID outside, Lieutenant Governor. And that's because the scientific studies have shown that it is up to 19 times safer outdoors than indoors with COVID, because in the indoors, the particles and pathogens accumulate. The outdoors is much, much safer. Now, people should still stay in small groups, should still wear their masks when they're near others, even outdoors. But we're working with a number of cities and towns, Lieutenant Governor. You've always encouraged, and you're right, states working with municipalities to get things done. Governor Raimondo and we in Commerce and we at the Department of Health and Department of Environmental Management are working with a variety of towns to create more outdoor activities. Check out this website, takeitoutsideri.com, takeitoutsideri.com, or you can go on our reopeningri.com website and find the page. But at takeitoutsideri.com, you'll see that East Greenwich is closing portions of Main Street weekly, specifically on Sunday afternoons beginning on September 7th to provide more outdoor space for businesses and encourage more activity. Jamestown has closed a parking lot to allow restaurants, to enable 3 restaurants to offer outdoor dining. Central Falls is looking at parking spaces on the street and allowing businesses to do more. Providence has a variety of locations that they're looking at. Warren has instituted a one-stop shop for expedited permitting for outdoor dining. Lieutenant Governor, to keep Rhode Island open, to stay in the leadership position in the country for being open, we need to make sure that we stay safe, that we keep our public health data where it needs to be, with infections low and hospitalizations low. One of the safe ways to do that is to stay outdoors as much as possible while staying in small groups. The social gathering size is 15, and we got to keep wearing masks and doing all the other safe things. But please, business people, if you have an idea, if you'd like to take it outside, if you'd like to open up shop, create more outdoor dining, do some kind of an activity outside that you would ordinarily do inside, please reach out to Commerce. You can certainly reach out to the Lieutenant Governor. He's a great link to everything that we do. Please reach out to anyone in government that you ordinarily do, but please feel free to reach out to Commerce. Call 521-HELP. That's 521-HELP. And we can help you figure out an outdoors way of doing business. Keep your customers safe, keep your employees even safer than you already are. Rhode Island, you're doing a fantastic job. Business people, you're doing an amazing job. We're number 3 in the country, but we are by no means satisfied. So here's our little logo, by the way, Lieutenant Governor.
I like it. So I want to tell you, Stephen, last week, Liz Tanner was on and we were talking briefly about the fact that the Take It Outside program was coming, and I compared my notes with her about my 39 tours. And so our office is going to do a version of a Take It Outside tour, and we're going to be reemphasizing all the things that the state is working on to help our small businesses, and we're linking in with some of the municipal leaders. I'll be on Broad Street in Providence tomorrow, I believe, and I'm going to be in Barrington, I think early next week, with the town manager there, Jim Coonan, and the business community, talking about Take It Outside. So we're going to do a Take It Outside 39 tour out of our office over the next 45 days, and then the other one. So yeah, so we'll put it out there, and And then, yeah, I think that one of the values of having a format like this, Devin, and having people come on like yourself and the other directors, which has been unbelievable. I can tell you that the input that I get as I go out, people are watching this program, they're getting a wealth of information, and they're really, so we're kind of complimenting the work that's out there. And we really want to celebrate our success. This is just like we talked about with the Thumbtack survey 2 weeks ago when you were on. Now with this, I was reading about that on the Moody's survey. We need to really embrace that, and then we got to hold on to that. And there's no reason. We have a certain amount of challenge right now. I think that's an understatement, but we have a really upside of opportunity right now. And so the work that you're doing, the work that we're trying to get done, the other organizations that are really doubling down to help our small businesses, and that's why we're going to, keep on, pushing and politely pushing, but expand the amount of businesses that can pay, get the advantage of a grant program like you're doing. Create a quicker access to the dollars and simplify the applications to the degree that we can. So give us an update on where you are, and then I hope that you're able, or your staff is able to listen at the tail end of the show. We have 4 businesses that are not qualifying for the grants that are going to build their case of why they should be included.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And so the status update, as you know, Commerce first floated the idea to do a grant program, and we're very grateful for everyone's support and advocacy to get it done. We did so back in May. We're pleased that as of today, we'll have in the vicinity of 500 applicants funded at over $5 million going out the door total. That's excellent. Now we still have a long way to go, and we want to keep getting businesses to the finish line. And I'll note that over $600,000 has gone already to minority-owned businesses, and we're pleased that the percentage is high. We have much more to do. Over 100 applicants, maybe 130 applicants are right at the finish line. We're so pleased that businesses are doing the processing and the bit of work it takes to get the documentation in, to fulfill federal requirements and get their grants. So we have made a number of changes to make things yet easier for businesses. For example, if you're a business and you're listening and you were struggling with how to demonstrate the revenue loss, we transition to 1 month of demonstration over the course of a year. You can pick a month and show your revenue loss rather than looking at quarterly data and having to accumulate that. So any month, January to June, you can demonstrate your minimum revenue loss to hit that 30% or 50% threshold to be eligible for the grant. Funds are still available. We've heard that there's some rumors out there we're running out of money. We are not yet. So funds are still available. Please apply. Now, what we're pleased about, Lieutenant Governor, is that we have seen a lot of businesses apply, a lot of businesses get funded. There is funding left. So over time, we are going to look to expand eligibility, as we already have, to new categories of businesses. So I'm glad to take input. And over time, we will do that. We're not going to make decisions right here on the air, but we're going to expand eligibility because we want as many small businesses to be eligible as possible. So check out commerceri.com to get all the information you need to apply, and then you'll go through the process. It's a quick opening application. It's an initial form followed by the full application. So make sure you do both. Now, you can call our hotline. I mentioned it earlier around Take It Outside. You can call our hotline for that too, but call our hotline at 521-HELP if you want help with anything. We have one-on-one Zoom sessions for businesses. We will go on a Zoom call and help you get through the application process. We have Zoom office hours. If you want to join with other businesses and get some technical assistance, the next one is tomorrow at 3 p.m., tomorrow, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Check out the Commerce RI Facebook page, and you'll get more details on that. If you're more comfortable reaching out, not to government, but to some of our partners in the association world, in industry, the Rhode Island Hospitality Association is available to you for this program, the Rhode Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Center for Southeast Asians, the Newport Chamber of Commerce, the Rhode Island Black Business Association, and Rhode Island SCORE, all are partners in this, Lieutenant Governor. And small businesses, reach out to them if you feel comfortable, if you have colleagues there you work with, for whatever reason, reach out to them and they can walk you through the process. So we're very pleased about all of that. And Lieutenant Governor, that's our update for today. And I welcome
So Stefan, thank you so much. And, well, I'll follow up offline. Like you said, this is not necessarily the place to kind of, shape where the next, but having the flexibility in the space, I will share some of the things that we're finding out with you as well. And hopefully that can happen. And the 4 businesses that we're going to have: a photographer that does weddings. We got a daycare coming on. We have a farmer that's coming on today. So we certainly are building up the stories, and the need is there. So hopefully we're going to be able to open this up. Joe, before you say anything, Ben, Joe, do you have anything that you wanted to weigh in on? And thanks for being here. Joe Rodeo does a lot of work in our office, helping on a number of these things that are related to the small business. If you don't, that's fine. But if you
thanks,
do,
Governor. Thanks, Secretary. Appreciate the update.
Awesome.
Thank you, Joe.
Ben, what do you got?
So, thank you, Secretary. Well, basically, I mean, there's just a ton of questions about sole proprietors. I'm not going to ask all of them individually, but basically, are there any updates for sole proprietors? And that includes the weddings, like the Lieutenant Governor was talking about, gig workers, stuff like that. So it's basically, it's just 2 questions in general, because you've covered everything else. Is this any update on sole proprietors and the speed of distribution of getting the money out? Thanks.
Yep. On the speed of distribution, it's really dependent upon a business finishing its application. So we have a lot of businesses, people are extremely busy, who submit an initial form and don't follow through and submit their financial information. You've got to complete it, and then it's very quick to get funded. So we've been seeing a lot of success with businesses who put their mind to it. Maybe they do a one-on-one Zoom, but if you're even in doubt on where you stand, please go back into your application and complete it. Call 521-HELP, and Rhode Island Commerce will help you. But the pace of funding is completely dependent upon businesses finishing the process. We believe in you, small businesses, and we know you've got a million things going on. I mean, no one is debating that. We're doing everything we can to help and handhold and assist. So please be in touch. On sole proprietors, just to remind everyone, sole proprietors with 1 employee or more are eligible. We started this program with some parameters, and the one parameter is you have to have at least 1 employee. I'm not saying that rule will last forever or that there won't be expansions, but we want to make sure that as much as possible, we were providing for a program that benefited the employees of Rhode Island and as many people as we could at once. So very pleased that we were able to open it up to some of sole proprietors in Rhode Island and open to more input.
Thank you, Stefan. And I'll follow back up with some of the information we're getting and some of the input that we're getting. And we really appreciate the fact that you're coming on today. And hopefully we'll have an update from your office next week, either through yourself or Matt or someone. But we'll keep on extending the invitation, and we appreciate you coming out and listening. And please, if you have the opportunity, or staff, listen to the 4 businesses that are going to be on at the tail end of the show here. They got some really good stories to tell, and they're very good businesses. So
very helpful. And listen, every business deserves assistance, and we can give them technical assistance as we go. But every business, of course, deserves a shot. So every program has rules. We're always open to listening. The reality is that we've been given limited money by the federal government to solve all the problems that are related to COVID, and we look forward to the input provided by these good businesses.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Appreciate you being here. Bring on, I think Matt is next, Ben, right? Is Matt in the, Matt's there? Yes, I don't know whether he did the mask or not, but I do have the mask, just to let you know, with me and Liz, there you go. Okay, good. Matt, please give us an overview. A lot of valuable information is going on today, so take your time, and we'll extend a little past the hours for some of these businesses that are going to be on that are going to tell their story. So Please share what you got.
I think I can go pretty quick. First, I need a haircut pretty bad, but my son's baseball team is in the final playoff game tonight for the championship, and I can't cut my hair on a playoff run.
You can't do that.
I'm not
Absolutely
promising
not.
anything on the beard, but the hair we'll see.
I hope you're changing your socks. Sometimes people keep their socks on, you know.
No comment. Okay, so things are going pretty well. Last week we paid 100,930 people. That means that we remain really busy here at DLT. But the good thing is that we're getting over 1,000 people helped a day or on the phone in our call center.
Wow.
We're open Monday through Friday, and then we're open again on Saturday mornings in the call center. DLT staff are working 7 days a week in different shifts because being on the phone is only one small part of what we have to do. If we're always on the phone, then we can't spend any time doing the work in the back office, which is how claims get paid. And so there's really a balance, and we're trying to make sure that we walk that fine line well, and we serve our customers the way they deserve to be served. Right now, 1,000 a day is our metric. If we're hitting it, we feel like we're doing a good job. We're going to stay on top of that for some time. One of the things that I've been seeing more of are people commenting about fraud cases and how can so many fraud cases happen? How can these claims get filed in other people's names? Why is this happening in Rhode Island? Like I've said before, Governor, it's happening all over the country. Coast to coast, there is a very well-organized fraud scheme that's happening.
Yep.
Whenever a government program comes out with rich benefits or new benefits, people try to find a way to get in and attack it. Mark has talked quite a bit about how this has happened through the SBA loan programs, and the DLT program that we're running on behalf of the federal government is no different. The good news is that the team that we have running the fraud effort was refreshed during the pandemic, is working very closely with the state police and the AG, and is doing a really good job to try to stop these as quickly as possible. You do that by training analytical software, so it's essentially artificial intelligence, and you train it that these claims look good, these claims look bad, and for different factors are checked. And people that are applying will notice that we've changed some of the processes. We've put some identification verification tools on the front end of some of the application questions. We've put what they call CAPTCHAs online, which is when, sometimes you file something online and it says, okay, before you file, please click the 4 images that have chimneys in them. We've put those on. These are all trying to make sure that bots are not sending claims in and trying to make sure that people are who they say they are. So we've stopped a lot more claims in the last couple of weeks than we had in the past. And that's because our intelligence is getting better. And so I'm sorry that it's happening. We really can't stop it from happening in the beginning. What we can do is respond quickly. And that's what we're trying to do. And finally, what probably most people want to talk about is when is DLT going to pay out the FEMA $300 a week? The governor has said twice now from the podium. Originally last week, she said 2 to 3 weeks. Yesterday, she said, we're hoping to pay it next week. It could be 2 weeks. I feel pretty confident that we can do it next week. Things are like they're heading in the right direction. Unfortunately, the federal government made it very complicated. And so it's not like continuing the $600. It's a whole new program we had to create. But the staff is working around the clock to get it done. I think it's going to happen next week. For those of you that certified and got a payment for week ending August 1st, August 8th, or August 15th, that's 3 weeks, you will get an automatic deposit into your bank account or on your payment card for $900. If you received a payment in those weeks, you'll get the $300, just like the $600. On WorkShare, that may not come next week. It may be a few days later, or maybe at the end of next week. If you're a claimant that has a weekly benefit amount that's less than $100, we're working to help you out with that, so you'll be able to qualify as well. There are a number of things that are happening. It's going to happen in stages, but the biggest groups of people will get paid probably this time next week. They'll have a deposit in their account. We've only been approved by FEMA for 3 weeks right now. FEMA said after the initial 3 weeks, which is what they were approving for the whole country, then they were going to take it week by week. And that's because they had a limited pot of money, and big states like California, New York, Texas are all part of the program now. So they just need to be mindful. We are hoping we have applications in for a 4th week, and I believe we're putting one in for the 5th week. If we can get those additional weeks, we'll continue to pay them automatically. If it ever gets into a cadence where it goes out with your weekly payment, like the $600 did, then we'll notify everyone. The best information I can give is go to dlt.ri.gov. We put all the updates on banners across the top of the website. Check DLT's Twitter presence, or call the call center at 415-6772 and talk to a representative. I think that's what I have today, Governor.
Yeah, Matt, that's, really important information, and the updated on the 300. I've had conversations where, in fact, one of the businesses will be at the tail end of the call here. The $600 ran out, and now they're pressed against, paying their bills and keeping a business that is not even operating yet because of the COVID, basically, alive. So those are lifelines, and your office again and yourself being accessible like this with us, and accessible throughout the week, in other venues, very important. And I know it's resonating. So thank you for doing that. On the fraud issues, you're bringing it up. There's direct access fraud, not just the computer fraud that's going on too, Matt, that calls are being made. People are responding to calls and asking for information, giving a false story that creates an urgency in some people's minds, and then they're reacting to that. So again, the fraud that you're preventing, electronically, but there's also there's still this old-fashioned fraud that's going on. The direct call and the story, and send the money to so and so, or give us your information. Anybody that's watching that, the best thing you can do there, you get a call that looks like that, just hang up. Don't talk to them, and you don't have to play detective. Protect yourself and just hang up. If it's a really an important issue, if it is IRS, trust me, they will get in touch with you, and they'll make sure that they tell you that they are IRS. And if it is a police department, trust me, they will call back. You don't get penalized for hanging up if you think it's a call that you should be hanging up on. So, Matt, thank you so much. Joe, do you have anything for Matt?
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hey, Joe.
One question I heard that I'm not positive I know the answer to, although I think, are you expecting all of the funds on the 300 to be exhausted for that first 3 weeks if I was not eligible, say, on August 1st, but became eligible on the 8th and 15th? Will I still qualify for a third week, or will it be exhausted by the August 15th claim period?
Right now, we're paying out across the system for 8/1, 8/8, 8/15. So if you were eligible for those 2 weeks, then you'd get paid for those 2 weeks for now. And then we're going to go forward and pay week by week.
Thank you.
Sure. Hi, Ben.
Ben, hi,
Hey,
Ben.
Matt. Just real quick, we had a couple people ask if a person started collecting in March and they haven't been called to work, how long will they be able to stay on unemployment?
So it really depends on their individual circumstances, but generally I'll do very quickly. On regular unemployment, it's up to 26 weeks that's what the state law allows for. And then there's a 13-week federal extension. And then hold your hat, Ben, there's 20 weeks after that, right? So let's do the math. Let's see. 26 and 13, 39 and 20 is 59. You could be eligible for 59 weeks of benefits. On pandemic unemployment, which is the new program that we've talked about 100 times, that program starts at 39 weeks. So it basically captures regular unemployment and the first extension. Then they're also eligible for maybe 20 weeks. So we're going to say 59 is the magic number, but you have to qualify. Some people aren't going to earn as much. It's depending on how much you earned prior to when you collected.
And someone asked, what if you stop collecting this week? I'm not 100% sure what you mean.
I think that's a question, Ben, as to will you still get the $900 if you were on August 8th?
Yes. So as long as you are collecting it, then
Thanks,
we will deposit the money into your account. It doesn't matter if we hope you went back to work, but if you went back after the 15th of August, we'll send the money to you for those 3 weeks.
Also, Jennifer, who's the person that just made that comment, also said that you should come see her for your haircut. All right. And if you guys have other specific questions and stuff, as always, you can send the email to ltgov20@gmail.com. And if it's a question for Matt or Mark or whoever, Shay will send that over to them. And I've seen many cases where things get settled by sending an email to ltgov20. Thanks, Matt.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Matt. You bet. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Now I see a little design there.
Oh, Ocean State. I like that.
I like it. The Ocean State. I got this one on. It's kind of coordinated with my gray suit.
Pretty.
Susan said that it was, handsome, not pretty.
Looks like silk.
Yes, I mean, that's more, this is more Susan's, but, oh, there you go, Joe, good.
So mine
but-
is supportive of Rhode Island small businesses. You've got Ocean Mist, you got Dave's Market, you've
Wow.
got some Stuffies and chowder and lobster. Yeah, it's a good one. From
Where'd you
Barrington
get-
Books.
Barrington Books.
great.
Yep.
Oh, that's one of our favorite places. Actually, we're going to have a bookstore on in about 10 minutes from now. They're talking about the challenges they're having right down in downtown Pawtucket. But Barrington Books has got those. We'll have to pay them a visit. We'll have to
Yep,
pay
they
them
do.
a
They
visit.
have great ones. They have other ones too, but that one was a good one for small businesses. So I made
Yeah.
sure I got that one.
Yes, great. Give us the update.
So a couple things to talk about. I understand Secretary Pryor was on earlier and he talked about the Take It Outside campaign. So I won't reiterate that, just to say that if you're a business owner and there's something you want to do outside, you should contact your municipality, or you should feel free to contact the Commerce Corporation or DBR, and we'll walk you through talking to the municipality about what can be done. Of course, we care so much about our masks. But one thing I want to bring up that probably hasn't gotten too much airtime that you're going to start to see a lot more about is we're starting to see clusters of cases that are resulting from carpooling. So what's happening is you have people in a car, nobody's wearing a mask, they're all sharing the same airspace, and they're all getting sick. So I want you to think about carpooling as a really pretty heavy way to spread the virus. So if you are carpooling and you still need to carpool, everybody who's in the car should wear a mask the entire time, because we are concerned about people carpooling. So please get the word out that carpooling is a dangerous situation if you're not wearing a mask. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is where we're going. So we've been focusing so much on our bars and restaurants. We're spending a lot of time looking at college bars right now, but we're also starting to look at construction and manufacturing. So some guidance documents, I believe they came out today, if not yesterday, specific to those industries, to say these are some guidelines and things that you have to follow, things that we would like you to follow, and some ideas for those industries. And we're going to start doing some inspections on construction sites as well as the manufacturers to make sure that they're complying with the same rules that we all are. So that's where we're headed. So if people have questions about what they should do for their businesses, we would be more than happy to answer them. And that's what I've got today for you.
Yeah, Liz. So again, we keep on reinforcing the fact that, and as Stefan pointed out, Stefan Pryor, when we're doing comparative analysis, we're doing pretty well as a state. Being aggressive in our reopening strategies, and the fact that we've been able to not go backwards. We've been stabilized at certain points, but we're always kind of moving for the next step forward. But it all is contingent on us following the rules of the health rules. They're directly connected. They're not separate. They're directly connected. So follow what Liz is telling us, whether you own a business or whether you're frequenting the small businesses that we want you to frequent. Please wear the masks and wash the hands and keep the distance while you're inside, and take it outside. Take it outside. We're doing since we talked last week, we've had multiple staff meetings in our office, and we're starting to coordinate our version of a take it outside strategy so that we can get out and talk to businesses. We'll be in Barrington, I think next week. I think I'm going to be walking Broad Street in Providence today, meeting with multiple businesses. And one of the things that we've been able to do is through our network, our international ambassador network, our economic international ambassador network, I think we've got controlling about 50,000 masks right now that we're providing into small businesses. So as we visited a ribbon cutting today of a Mexican business on right on Allen's Avenue, we were able to provide them with 100 masks on our visit. So we're going to coordinate this, take it outside, taking the safety issue along with the small business issue, and then tying in the municipal leaders where they want to be tied in, just to kind of reinforce the things that you're talking about. So thank you so much for your leadership. And again, if somebody needs to talk to your office about any questions that they have, or any inspections that are going on, or any follow-up on those inspections, they can call you directly. Ben's put up some information here and a phone number for you, right, on your office.
That's great.
Joe, you got anything for Liz?
No, I'll look forward to taking it outside. That's all.
Thank you. And thank you for your efforts to get the masks out. That's really important. And if you wouldn't mind talking about the carpooling, as we get more information, we can learn more. And that's a new one. That's something that we're going to start really talking a lot about. So a business owner doesn't necessarily think about how their employees get to work, but if they're coming to work and they're all work in different areas and one of them is sick, now the whole shop is getting sick, right? So something to consider. So if we can start talking about carpooling, we'd really appreciate it.
You got it, Liz. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you
Thanks so
next
much.
week if you can make it. I'd love to have you here. All right, Joe. Thanks.
Thank you.
For
Thanks,
being
Kevin.
being here and listening in. I think this is all valuable information that we're hearing. We're going to make a shift here, and then we're going to get right to the businesses. But we're going to go quickly. If Chris Parisi is on the line with any of his partners in crime here, I got it too. You're looking good, Chris. Chris, give us the 1 minute overview of where we are in the coalition. And I know that people are aware of it because I'm out and I'm talking to people and they know about the small business coalition that you're helping lead with Lori and Justin and put you're off mute now. But yeah, give us the 1 minute overview, and then I want you to hear the stories of these small businesses that because the polling that you've done and the outreach that you've done over the last several days has been very, very, very valuable.
Yeah, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. We've been having our weekly coalition calls every Monday. Again, if you'd like to be part of that, email info@rismallbusiness.org. And we're discussing ways of how we can continue to push our advocacy and support for small businesses, and also hearing the issues that they are experiencing and sometimes making it more difficult for them to just simply do their business and operate. And we got to make sure that we're advocating to ensure that the state and municipalities are supporting these small businesses the best that they can. We also did a survey that you just alluded to, and when asking if they qualified for the grant, about 60% said no, and for the main reasons why they did not qualify, majority of them was because of that sole proprietors with 0 employees. The second one being the revenue loss was simply not enough. The only other metric I'll mention is when we asked how difficult would you say the application process was. Doing quick math in my head here, 80% said difficult or somewhat difficult. Or very difficult. So it was a difficult process according to the coalition members, 80% of them. So there's still improvements when it came to that. And we're now discussing what our next steps will be to ensure that not only are we having a process that is easy and smooth, but also a way that is inclusive to all small businesses, to include the sole proprietors with 0 employees, to include some of these industries that weren't eligible, in those businesses where maybe the revenue wasn't quite eligible for a 50% loss, but their margins and profits were worse than a 50% loss. Yeah. So, we have to make sure that we're continuing to fight for our small businesses, and we're asking all the folks out there to continue to enjoy the coalition, to be part of it, to email us if you'd like to be part of our calls. And if you have any other suggestions, we're all ears. This is a two-way communication, and we want to make sure that you are a part of this movement.
Yeah, Chris, and you've been so valuable and to kind of be connecting and providing the voice that you heard the secretary, he's hearing what they're going to hear the stories that have been told. And I know a couple of the businesses that are going to be on next actually came through your survey. So it connects us in a real way to real life stories that are very important. I mentioned today and also on a call yesterday with the coalition that we're going to take our own version of a take it outside strategy. And then we're going to be out and about talking to the businesses, asking them how things are going, providing the information that they may not be aware of. There's many businesses out there, small businesses, that have not really heard about the coalition, and we need to get the word out. So we're going to take our work out on the road. We'll keep you posted so you can let people know where we're going to be, and then so that people can stop by. And the more we build this coalition out, not only for today and the issues and the challenges we're having right now, but we still got a loan program that we're going to need to put in place. We still have work that needs to be done to support our businesses down the line with policy and other things. So this work that you're doing in conjunction with our office is going to live. It's got a life that's going to live way past the COVID, But right now, we are totally focused on, creating the opportunity that our small businesses need to survive this health crisis, and now it's an economic crisis. So thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. So appreciate you, and I'll be listening to the next small business owners.
Yeah, that's great. Ben, if you're still there, let's bring on our owners. We've got Tyler, he's got his mask on. I like it. I don't know whether anybody else has got a mask with him, but anytime somebody puts a mask on, I put it on too. Without this effort to keep us healthy, our businesses are not going to open up. So make sure that we, follow those rules. But our businesses are so damn important, not only to the families and that our owners, but then the workers. But it's also the people that we serve. So today, our 4 businesses here, and I'll go from Tyler to Carl, and then I'll go to Faith, and I'll end up with Stephen, who's got a bookstore down in Pawtucket, which I bought some books from. We're going to talk about the 39 innings that I picked up with the Paw Sox. But Tyler, first I'll ask everybody to kind of give a, description, 30-second description of their business, and then also the importance to them that you're included in these programs, and right now explain that you're excluded from some of these grant strategies. So Tyler, Sue and I enjoyed the flower arrangements we picked up a week ago or so. We'll have to get back down there, and we really enjoyed the corn too. So unmute yourself and reintroduce yourself, because you're no stranger to this call-in. Thanks, Tyler.
Am I on right now?
Yes, you are, Tyler. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It was great having you down, and Sue, and it's nice to see you, and John as well down here. Edward, so.
Yes.
Basically, we're a 300-acre operation. We have a retail wholesale farm, and we have a lot to do with the processors in the industry, and they deal a lot with the restaurant trade, and they've really suffered immensely. And so we're hoping to support them in a big way through this coalition. But we have looked to switch our wholesale end of the business towards more of the retail sector, because I think the conversion from the processor style to the retail has been significant. And so we've changed our dynamics in our business. A lot of growers haven't. So I think they're going to really be hurting more so than we are, because I know we had two different processors that we sold 500,000 pounds of butter to every year. They both told us to not grow anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a big hit for us, and so we've kind of switched things out. But we're worried about that group of the industry that's really part of our web. So.
Yeah, so the farms and some of the other businesses on today, I was very surprised that they weren't included in the grants programs. And we know the grants up to $15,000. It's not going to save a business for a year, but it's going to buy some businesses a month, 2 weeks, or 3 months. And so right now, you had explained to me that right now many of the farmers in the state are not eligible for the current grant program.
I know some haven't been eligible at all. I know we as a business really never pursued it, because it's been, like again Chris said, it's going through a difficult process. But I mean, I know a lot of growers are concerned about that process and going through it. We just said we opted out of it. My concern with a lot of, again, the processors, the restaurant business, we need to have that web built so we have that support so we can sell our stuff. I'd like to see them get it so we can continue to sell our goods.
Yep. Yeah. One hand washes the other, and I think that's one of the things that one of the themes today is, and I'll go to Carl right now. Is Carl owns the Apple Blossom daycare in Barrington, and so one hand does wash the other. You heard, Carl, how Tyler's business is impacted because the restaurants are not buying his wholesale products. You're impacted in a way, so describe your business, and then also the difficulties that you've had, accessing dollars that other businesses have. And also, I want to, give you the opportunity to talk about, the transitioning that you had as a business and and the way that you stepped up to provide, the state with some very needed type of work to protect the families out there. But give it a little overview, Kyle, of your business, and then we'll talk a little bit about the grants and a little bit about the restrictions that you've had on your business. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. First is, I do have my mask, and you may notice one of the first things, I own Apple Blossom Preschool. We actually designed this mask, and one of the things that we did is we created a pocket for a filter so that it has the ability to have a replacement of an N95 filter, because families were very concerned about how to, things like how to not make it scary for children. So out of the block, we gave them the logo on the mask that they would recognize and allowed them to be washable and all the types of things. So I'm a preschool in Barrington, Rhode Island. I've been open since 2017, and in mid-March, the affiliation of the state came to us and said, could we help the first responders? If we all remember that term back in March, it was all about how do we support the first responders so that people could go to the hospitals and do that support. So Apple Blossom was asked to put together a plan up front and be able to provide the best opportunity for families to provide childcare while parents would be able to go to work. So we invented this particular face mask, and we also, I'm a former software engineer, so I developed a app that runs on a surface for doing the questionnaire that the governor requires for temperature recording and acknowledging the questions so that she can review the data. It's stored within a database. It's available to anybody in the state that wants to get away from the paper. I've been able to sell it to a couple other daycare centers here in Rhode Island that are using it, and just say not having to buy reams of paper. It's just savings on that alone.
And
it's
Carl,
an amazing thing.
And Carl, being an engineer, Senator Palmer is actually watching this broadcast right now. He just said hello on the chat. But you bring a lot of value to the table because of your background, and also in terms of we're going to have to connect you in with the coalition core groups, because what you just offered there is really what is really on the minds of a lot of our small businesses, to try to build up the confidence of our the consumers to actually visit our places, and that lends right to that consumer confidence. What you just talked about in terms of corralling that information and not using all the paperwork, but having a centralized spot to put the information that's important. Safety issues.
Yeah, it's invaluable. Our customer base today, they're so faceted with technology that they were looking for solutions, and we're happy to stay out of the building. But my concern now is that children aren't being exposed to the environment that they should be exposed to. And we've done all this investment in equipments and things, and we had been told early on that, this Restore Rhode Island grant money would be available to small businesses. So we went ahead and got our plans approved. We were ready to go June 1st. We waited an additional week, and I go to apply, and childcare in my circumstance has been excluded. And I've had a frustrating time. They've pushed me to some other organizations and grant programs, but because I'm not connected to federal programs or all this stuff, it's gotten very confusing. And now with the SBA loan stopping the end of September, and you spoke to that earlier, I now have another over $2,000 financial responsibility for my building, let alone my business. Before this whole thing, I was full capacity, and now I'm barely 20% full because parents are having to decide the safety issues and which way to go. So we have to be fully staffed.
Yeah, and Carl, I've talked to Nancy, Nancy Bay, who just kind of put a little comment down there thanking you for speaking out here. Marianne Shellcross as well. Yeah, I think that some people are even some of our state leaders are under the impression that the first round of funding that went to the daycares, that all our daycares were able to take advantage of, and that does not seem to be the case, as you just said, right?
That's exactly right. In fact, I was going to get to Nancy and Marianne, who have been instrumental in introducing a male, I will say, to the ownership of a preschool, which I did 3 years ago because I had a calling to come do it and leave technology. And between Marianne Shellcross and Nancy, they have been invaluable and brought me to this forum. And I can say that they're both in the same boat and are experiencing this same inequity of trying to make all small businesses available to grant money.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that you have 11 employees right now, and you're trying to.
We're now actually down to a core, but I have to cover every age group. So I carry a full-time chef. I carry a director because I'm not a director. And then we do a ratio of 4-to-1 for the little ones and 6-to-1 for the middle-aged kids. We do 18 months to 5 years, so that if I have one kid in or I have 30 kids in, I have to have the ratios of teachers sitting here waiting, because some moms come Mondays and Wednesdays, Tuesday, Thursdays, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And they will walk through the door, the Department of Human Services, I can see my dashboard and my ratios. I have to be ready to go.
Yeah, and Kyle, we've talked about the connection between the health and the economy, and there's many things that are going to drive our economy. And one of the things is that the daycares provide. Give us a little overview of how you're going to provide relief to families that are either sending their kids to school or even virtual learning strategies that are going on right now. The impact that the need for our daycares to be open and able to pay their bills, and I'll just say in a backdrop. You've got a voice here today, and we're going to provide this voice throughout the week. And Stephen Pryor, the secretary, had said he's open to, revising some of the strategies so the money can go out to broader. But give us a little thought about the role that the daycares are going to play in not only in the families, the school opening, but also the economy of families. Right? I'll let you spell it out because you know it well, and you've talked about that with me.
Thank you, Governor. It's a very interesting point, and I'm sure Nancy and Marianne will back me up on this one. It's, we've been kind of sitting through the summer because grandma and auntie are covering kid babysitting chores. But now that schools are making the determination, and whether it be the public school system or private, and in my case, this is my story, I'm going to explain, it's a private school, has decided that they're going to go to distance learning. Well, as soon as that decision was made, the phone starts ringing and saying, okay, now I have a third grader, a fifth grader, a sixth grader, and a preschooler. I'm working at home. There's no way I'm going to be able to teach at home, work at home, and have preschoolers. And oh, by the way, we're also worried that we'd like to bring them to Apple Blossom because my preschooler might never ever see the inside of a classroom in the environment of a holistic approach of which you're doing. So can you please support us in any combination of allowing our preschoolers to have the experience and exposure to what life should be for that age group and provide the care that's necessary that meets the requirements of CDC, Department of Health, and our governing body, the Department of Human Services.
Yeah, so I mean, and we'll go to Faith next, but both Tyler and yourself, Kyle, have really built the case that says, as Commerce and the governor think about, expanding who's going to be eligible for the grants. That's what we're here today, is to really build that case, and you've done that very well on behalf of the child care services out there that we're going to be very dependent on. The young families out there are going to be really dependent on with them getting to their jobs. And knowing that their kids are being cared for in a way that they can feel comfortable with, right, and they have belief in. So, thank you, Kyle, for being here. Faith, please describe your situation, and I'll let you describe it, but I'll kind of set it up as being a photographer in weddings, primarily located down in Newport area. I've been saying this over and over again. We're talking about the hospitality spots and the restaurants. Well, just as Tyler mentioned, his farm depends on restaurants operating. So if we're going to really double down on the restaurants, then we should be double down on the farms as well. Your case is very similar. You provide a service that for the weddings, and the wedding industry has multiple small businesses that get involved in any given wedding. So please introduce yourself, and thank you so much for being here today, Faith.
Thank you so much for having me, Lieutenant Governor. It's an honor and a privilege to speak with you all today and shed some light on the forgotten industry, the wedding industry. So I've been a wedding photographer for 15 years, been open since 2005 in my hometown of Newport, Rhode Island. And like you said, this isn't just about photographers. This is about all my colleagues, entertainment, makeup artists, video, obviously photographers, caterers.
Flowers.
Tyler
has a
yep, florist is a big one.
Florist, a big
yes.
A flower arrangement stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. Right down to the woman that is, or the man or woman that is taking in wedding dresses. So there's so many of us involved in the special events business, and we are still effectively shut down until further notice. So we need help. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
Yeah, and Faith, we talked a little bit about the impact that the wedding industry is having on your business, and speak specifically to that. And I think that globally, we're going to get the message that all those businesses that are attached to the wedding, the wedding industry are just like yours. So speak specifically about the challenges you're having with the weddings canceling or the being postponed, or give us a little bit of overview of how that's impacting you, because this is what this program is all about, is to give the businesses an opportunity to tell their story, and then hopefully we're going to get other news outlets that'll pick that up. And as Commerce and the governor starts deciding how to expand, who's going to get the grants and how much money's in there, they're going to your story is going to resonate. So please share that.
Okay, so weddings of 2020 is a complete wash. We have moved just about all of our weddings into 2021. And what that looks like is wedding businesses, we have a certain amount of dates. That is our inventory. That is our product, is these weekend dates. And now we've been wonderful in accommodating to our couples and transferring their contracts into 2021 with no transfer fees, no cancel, nothing like that. We've been wonderful, and we've really our hearts have been turned towards our couples, because this is difficult for our brides and grooms as well. So what that means for us now is, instead of taking that, well, I'll use the 4th of July, for example, that's a big wedding day. Instead of having a 4th of July 2020 wedding, now I have it in 2021. So you're losing money on the second date is what's happening. So, and then on top of that, I personally was affected by this. I had a bride that needed to move her date into a date that I had just filled with another COVID transfer, is what we're calling it. So I can't obviously photograph 2 weddings on one day. So I had to issue a complete refund to one of my couples that I wasn't able to photograph for next year, and my heart breaks for her. I want to be a part of that day, but I'm offering her a full refund, and that's really been a hardship. And then also, because of all of these contracts being transferred into 2021, we're not taking payments or deposits for those anymore. So basically, income has completely fallen off a cliff. Our overhead is still incredibly high. The rent, everything, the studio rent, all of our insurance, and we have no income coming in. So, and there's no end in sight. We haven't really been given any sort of date where we're going to be able to do these social gatherings. Also, another major concern of mine is that social gatherings have sort of been labeled in the media as super spreader events. And we talked a little bit about consumer confidence. And when I hear things like that, it sort of vilifies my industry. And I'm a little concerned about the long-term ramifications of that. So I hope that we get back to normal in 2021.
Well, Faith, thank you for sharing that.
And celebrating these wonderful days with you.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that, as Tyler did and Carl did. We need to put a face on these stories, because every small business counts. There's a little tagline going on that, small business, my business is no sideshow. Every business is important. And for us to have the opportunity to hear your story and Carl's and Tyler's, I just saw, across the chat across the world. Yeah, exactly. They were agreeing with you, Faith. That's exactly what's happening in my business. So when you speak, you're speaking of thousands of businesses out there. So Faith, thank you for being here. Stephen, you're no different. You got a bookstore down in downtown Pawtucket near Slater Mill. I've been there more than once. I enjoyed the book, The 39 Innings, about the Paw Sox, and also you had a great child's book. When I tour schools, I'd like to bring a book that has relevant to Rhode Island. I've used that quite a bit, which was a tour around Rhode Island by a local author. And so you're not, you're selling your products, but you're also, the local authors that you support in your store are being impacted as well. So give us a little overview of your business, what the virus is, how that's impacted your business, and also, the reason why you believe that you should be included in these grant programs, or hopefully down the line a small business strategy, that loan program that I'm advocating for. But Stephen, thank you for being here.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the opportunity to participate this afternoon. As Lieutenant Governor said, we're a bookstore, full service, with both used and new books. We opened in 2018 here in downtown Pawtucket. We got a greatest location ever, right across the street from Slater Mill, right next door to the Blackstone Valley Tourist and Visitor Center. And then COVID hit. Now our mission here is a little different than most bookstores. Yes, we have new books. We have used books, which fits in very nicely with the community here. But we were also set ourselves up to be a very important event center. We did 1 to 2 events per week here with local writers, local authors. We did that for 2 years. We are also a book publisher. So a lot of folks come in here not only for books and, buy what they're going to be reading this weekend, but also to publish their memoir, their children's book, their local history book. We've published just over 300 books in the last 5 years. Most of those books that we have published are local authors. So a big part of our business is not just publishing for them, but it's also providing books for all the events that they do. These 200 to 300 authors travel New England, they travel the United States, they're doing events, they're signing books, and we provide all that merchandise to them. Well, once COVID hit, of course, there were no more events. So with the thousands of books that we were supplying to a lot of these authors, suddenly you can't do it. So all these authors are now in a holding pattern, kind of waiting to see what happens next. And our retail efforts, the well documented what happened to retail during this crisis. And that all happened to us too. We were closed for a couple of months. We reopened as soon as we could. We're following all the proper procedures, as outlined by the Department of Business Regulation, so we can stay open. But we can only have up to 15 people in the store, so it doesn't allow us to do events inside at all. We're still too small for that. So we kind of lost all that business. We have pivoted the best we could. We set up we've retooled our website. Our entire inventory is online. It's helped a lot, but it doesn't replace that experience of meeting the author, getting the book signed, coming to an event. A lot of local community groups use the store too for their small events or meetings, workshops, and whatnot. So we're battling all that. And then another effect of COVID here in downtown Pawtucket is that Slater Mill has closed. They're not doing tours. There's also some other things going on with Slater Mill as they transition over to the National Park Service. And then the visitor center on the other side of us has closed because, of course, they're supporting the mill, which is closed. So we're kind of an island right now. So not only can we have the events that drive it, but we don't have the support of those around us. Now, with all that said, we're still doing very well. In fact, in 2019, we went from the first quarter to the fourth quarter and had a tremendous increase in business, increase in traffic. We were doing really, really well. And then we got, killed in the first quarter as the COVID crisis hit. So as I plot now to get kind of to the point of all this, when we applied for the loan, through this program, we didn't qualify. And the reason
the grant, right, Stephen? The grant.
Excuse me, the grant. And the reason we didn't qualify was because as we compared 2019 numbers to 2020, it didn't look like we were actually down anything. Whereas we were a very different company in the first quarter of 2019 than we were in the fourth quarter of 2019. And comparing the first quarter of 2019 to 2020, or a month early in 2019 to 2020, made it appear we didn't qualify, even though we've lost 40 to 50% of our revenue. So we had the conversations with SBA. We tried to get through the paperwork, and at the moment, we're just kind of waiting for things to change. Yeah. So based on the conversation I heard a little while ago, there may be some movement on that. There may be some change. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounds like, and that's what, and I appreciate everybody staying on today. The stories are endless, and you represent, all four of you represent thousands of businesses right now in the same thing. You heard today that maybe the criteria of the income comparison could get down to 1 month. We'll get more information. That was new information for me today from the secretary. He's also talked about potentially opening up the grant strategies to more businesses like all four of you represent. So that's why it's so important that all of you have been here today and taken the time to be with us. We'll be passing this information on to the larger media outlets. Don't be surprised if you get a phone call from some of them to continue to talk about the stories. And you represent so professionally the stories that need to be told about why we need to really work and help all our small businesses in the state of Rhode Island. They all matter, and regardless of what community you're in, I see that multiple communities are represented here, from Newport right to Barrington down to Little Compton and downtown Pawtucket. Our small businesses are everywhere, and we need to make sure that whatever we do, all our communities and our small businesses that are in those communities, get a fair share of the help. So I want to thank everybody for being here today, and we'll be following up with you. And I know we went a little overtime, and I appreciate you sticking with us during this time frame. So Louis De Palma says it's excellent. Get the voices out there. We need his support as a senator as well. So thank you to all the people who were on today. Thank you for all the people who are listening. Again, I remind you, share this out. The more shares that get out there, the more the information gets out there, whether it's talking about the unemployment or what the business regulation or the commerce or the SBA, and of course our small businesses. And I encourage everybody that's out there, all our small businesses, go and register at rismallbusiness.org. Become part of the coalition. Become part of this movement, this effort to create Rhode Island as a small business friendly state. We know in the context, even as the secretary said, we're getting on a national level. We're being graded pretty high on the work that we're doing. But we also, I agree with Stefan, we always can do more. So please register. Let's become part of the coalition. Let's get more of the dollars out quicker to more businesses on the grant program, and let's distribute it with an equity type of strategy around all 39 cities and towns in the state of Rhode Island, and simplify that application. I appreciate everybody being here. Stay healthy. Join us on the community conversation tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a very important discussion, and we're going to bleed into some of the issues that have to do with education and other things. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next Tuesday